little NBA basketball. NBA basketball, as far as the midway point, um, the Celtics are the top team in the league. We thought that Milwaukee was right there. And here's the thing: I usually don't wish bad juju on teams. I want Milwaukee to fall apart. I want the Milwaukee Bucks to absolutely fall apart. I do not like what they did to Adrian Griffin. I don't like it. And it just, but I want them to fall apart. We'll get into a little bit more of that later. Um Out west, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think they're going to end up being playoff frauds. I know somebody yesterday was saying, "Yeah, but they gave Denver all they wanted." And that's true. That's true. In the playoffs, they won a game, but you got to win 4 games. I don't think Minnesota's going to be frauds. I do. I do. Now they're playing well, but I'm not a believer. They're going to have to make me a believer, which is okay. Which is okay. So, if they can make me a believer, I'll be down with it. But they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to do that. Our trusted Lakers are frauds. The Lakers are going to make a huge trade here. LeBron don't like the roster. Nobody likes the roster. They're going to end up making a trade. So we'll find out. We'll absolutely find out what's going on there. I don't know. The East seems like it might be getting close to as good as the West. This is about as evenly stacked a Eastern Conference and a Western Conference that we've seen in a while. For years, the West had been so much better. I don't know if that's the case anymore. Yeah, Daniel Reyes brings up a good point. The Clippers. The Clippers is a B. I don't know if the Clippers are a B. I think it's closer to an A minus. The Clippers are pretty good. They have kind of figured out some stuff. And the West isn't miles better. You're not watching enough. So if you say the East is so weak, you're not watching enough. But yeah, it's getting closer. The West is still better, but it's not miles better. It's just better. The gap has been closed. So let's see here. Somebody's asking who's strong in the East. Well, the best team in the league is the Celtics. They're about as East as it gets. But hey, I guess if you're the best in the league, that's not strong. But we'll just move on. Somebody that doesn't like the Celtics doesn't think that the Celtics are any good, so we'll let them live with that. And their basketball take. We got it. But yeah, as far as the grades, I think the Clippers got a chance. Denver, obviously. And Denver's just mulling around. They've been mulling around, and then the next thing you know, they're right there tied for tops in the league. They've just been mulling around, hanging around. And Denver, I think by the end of the year, I still think Denver's going to have the number 1 seed in the East. So, all going to be the number 1 seed in the East. So, we'll see what happens as far as that is concerned. I like the Clippers. The Warriors, I think the Warriors are going to have problems making the playoffs. The team that people need to be concerned with are the Thunder. The Thunder, although no playoff experience, I think the Thunder are going to, or not enough anyway, I think the Thunder are going to give some people some problems. Sometimes playoff experience can be a little overrated when you're super talented. And the Thunder are super talented. So we'll see. The thing that I think is going to hold back the Suns, they don't have a point guard. And I think you got to have a point guard. So I like what they're doing. I like that 3-headed monster. I don't think they're going to have enough defense. And I don't think when you don't have a real point guard to kind of settle things down or distribute the ball, I don't think it's going to be sustainable to have Booker and Bradley Beal trying to distribute the basketball to people. Those guys are scorers. And maybe they make a move to get a low-grade point guard or something like that that can step in. Not Dallas. Dallas doesn't play. They don't play enough defense. Dallas doesn't play enough defense. If they're making a bunch of shots, they can stay in games. They can win games. But their problem in the playoffs, they just don't guard it. They don't guard anybody. They literally don't guard anybody. So they just don't. So and to me, you got to be able to play some defense. I think that's the problem that they saw in Milwaukee. But the problem in Milwaukee is they blame the coach for not being able to play defense when it's the players that aren't playing any defense. They're out there blaming the coach. Well, hell, what do you expect? You got rid of a top 5 on-ball defender and brought in a guy that plays no defense whatsoever. And as much as we love Dame, Dame doesn't guard it. Dame couldn't guard anybody in this chat. Nobody. He doesn't guard anybody. So he doesn't guard anybody in this chat. And that's a problem. So things aren't going to be as good. Things are just not going to be as good. But they still managed to have a 30-13 record, somehow not guarding people. And their defense is bad. It's bad. But it wasn't just him. I mean, if you look at Giannis, Giannis has been a defensive player of the year. He ain't playing great defense either. And then they blame the coach. I thought it was Bush League. But we'll see. We'll see. So, and yeah, Dame is still a top 3 shooter, but we're not talking about shooting. We're talking about defense. Dame doesn't guard anybody. So, a man saying that the Clippers will win the chip this year. They might. The Clippers seem to have gotten it figured out. The Clippers have seemed to have gotten some things figured out. We'll see how it works down the stretch. If those guys can just stay healthy, if Kawhi and Paul George, if they can just stay healthy, let's see what they can do. I want to see it. But man, it'll be interesting. So, my man Blade Watchers over on YouTube says he can't wait for the Intuit Dome to open in Inglewood for the Clippers. The place looks crazy. I love it. And I think it's about time the Clippers got their own place. Stop being second-class citizens. They're still going to be second-class citizens to the Lakers. I don't care what. But at least they got their own home. You know what I'm saying? At least they don't have to share a home. So, at least they don't have to share a home. So, good for them, man. Good for them. So, yeah, basement dwellers no more. Get off the couch. Finally getting off their big brother's couch. You know, good for them, man. Good for them. Daniel Reyna said, who's a better defender, Harden or Dame? I mean, I'll say Harden just because Harden is stronger than Dame, but neither one of them play any defense. Neither one of them do. But Harden doesn't have to because he's got guys that can. George, Kawhi, those guys can guard people. So he doesn't have to guard anybody. You know, he can be out there getting away, maybe stick his hand in a passing lane every now and then. So I don't even know if Harden pretends to play defense, but that's a good analogy. I don't even know if he pretends to do it. But you're right. If I stick my hand out like I'm in a passing lane every now and then, people think, oh, Harden's out there guarding. His guy's getting a back cut and a dunk, but he got out in the passing lane. Come on, man. What are we doing? So we'll see. I like where the Clippers are at, though. I'm not a believer over in the East. I'm not a believer in like the Knicks. You talk about people that don't guard anybody, and that's crazy because Thibodeau, that's his thing. Defense. But Randall, Brunson, when your stars can't guard, it's a problem. And when your stars can't guard, it's a problem. So that's my thing. That is my thing. And I know they brought in OG over there, and he's absolutely helping and is going to continue to help. But we'll see how that goes, man. Let's move on.